Welcome to our daily reflection for this Thursday, November 20th. And Jesus, as he approaches Jerusalem, we get this ominous note of judgment that's coming for Jerusalem and the temple. And Jesus knows that given the political track that Israel's on, they are fomenting revolution against Rome, and he knows that that violence will lead to their own destruction. He's warned them, he's called upon them, he's exhorted them to repent, to go away from their sins, but also to turn the other cheek and to not hate their enemy and to forgive those and all that. And they're not going on the route and the road of forgiveness and mercy, but of revolution and violence and anger and hatred. And he knows that that will lead to destruction and judgment. And so this ongoing theme, this ominous theme of impending judgment, hangs over the readings and over the journey of Jesus to Jerusalem. And we see this here in 1 Maccabees. And we're going to see, again, how the Greeks, the Gentiles, are forcing the Jews to conform to their customs and their religion, making them eat pork as a way of breaking allegiance to God. So that's the key thing that's being forced upon the Jews. They have to go into the public square of every village, eat pork that's been offered up to the gods, and it's an unkosher food. It's an offering to the gods, and that is to show their break with the God of Israel and their allegiance to the pagan gods. And so that's the setting in here in 1 Maccabees chapter 2. And in 1 Maccabees chapter 2, you get this great heroic man, Mattathias, and it will be his sons that will lead the Maccabean revolt from the Maccabean family. So Matthias Maccabeus. And Maccabeus means the hammer. He will be the hammer of God's judgment upon the Greeks. And he says that, look, I know that all the Gentiles obey the king, the pagan king, and his orders, but far be it from me and my family and for us to forsake the commands of God, right, and the law. We will not obey the words of this king. And they were offered gifts. He was bribed, not only with the threat of judgment and punishment, but also you'll be a friend to the king. We'll give you gold. We'll give you all these things. And so he's offered all those things. He says, no, I'm not going to do it. And as soon as he says no, another Jew from the village steps forward to eat the forbidden food, this pork, in order to win favor from the king. And he's eagerly trying to win approval and probably rewards from the pagans. And this Jew goes up and does it, and Mattathias sees this. He's filled with zeal, and like Phineas, his heart's aroused, and he, in fury, springs forward and he kills that apostate Jew on the pagan altar. He kills him. And then he kills the messenger of the king and starts a revolt against the Greeks. And he calls out everyone who is zealous for the Torah, for the law of God. Rally around me and everyone who's faithful to the covenant. And then they go out into the wilderness where they begin a insurrection against the Greeks that will be led by his sons that will be successful against the Greeks. And so we see that. And then today the psalm is Psalm 50, which again calls out against the wicked, against those who are unfaithful to the covenant, but calls upon those who are faithful to the covenant. And that's exactly what we see in the first reading. And it reminding them that in their distress, you call to God and he will rescue. And that's what will happen to the Maccabees. And so here we see the example of Mattathias, whose zeal for God's law leads him to obey God and not men. And that's always what we have to put first as Christians, faithful. We have to obey God, even if that means we have to disobey the unjust laws and unjust rulers of this world. And whatever trouble that gives us, what matters first is putting God in the first place. May the Lord bless and keep you.
This daily reflection is brought to you thanks to the generous support of the Mission Circle. Join the Mission Circle to help Catholics worldwide understand, live, and share their faith. Sign up at missioncircle.org today.